When I was in second grade, like a lot of other second graders, I got bullied sometimes. There's a couple of kids in every elementary school class that are a little bit big for their age, a little bit stronger, a little bit meaner than everybody else, and they tend to bully all the other kids. Well, I didn't like getting bullied. I didn't like getting picked on at recess. I didn't like being pushed down on the ground in the mud, all that stuff. So there's lots of ways that you can handle that. In today's world, here's my advice. If you have a young kid and they're getting bullied, have them tell a teacher, have them tell someone in authority. But unfortunately, in 1976, in the 1976-1977 school year, going and telling the teacher didn't do much good. Our teacher's name was Mrs. Cole, and she was a nice lady, but she wasn't going to do anything to stop the bullying. These kids weren't going to get in trouble. Nobody hardly ever got in trouble back in those days. You could kind of do whatever you wanted to. It was like, the old West, like anything goes, man. And so I kind of decided that I needed to do something to protect myself. And my strategy was, hey, you know what? There's strength in numbers. I came from a big family. I have 4 brothers, right? And people don't pick on a family with 5 boys as much as they do like one kid. So I went and got some of the other kids. There was a really big kid named Greg in our class. And he was picked on and bullied because he was big. And, somebody who they felt was academically a little slower, that he got bullied. And so I went to these kids and said, hey, you know what? Here's my proposal. We should make a gang. Well, that sounds like a great idea. And so we started talking to more kids. We got about 10 of us all together that said, hey, if we form a gang and we protect each other, no one's going to pick on one of us, all for one and one for all, right? We'll band together and protect ourselves. Genius, right? Everybody wanted to be in on that. All right, well, if we're going to have a gang, we got to have something. I didn't even know what this term was at the time, but like our colors, right? We got to have some way to distinguish who's in the gang and who's not in the gang. I didn't know much about gangs, but from what I've seen on TV, gangs had tattoos. Man, we need to get matching tattoos. Well, obviously, our parents are not going to let, a bunch of 7 and 8-year-olds get tattoos. So I said, all right, you know what? We should just draw something like on our hands that could be like our emblem, like our logo, and this is what we'll band together. Well, we don't want people copying us, so it's got to be something that's hard to draw, hard to copy, but something simple, something bold. And since I was the gang leader who came up with all this idea, I said, let me think about it overnight. I'm gonna come back tomorrow with an idea. So I went home. I couldn't think, I'm not really very good at drawing, can't draw something very elaborate on people's hands. And that night, we're watching TV as a family, and there was a show on back in the day. If you guys are my age or older, you'll remember it was called Hogan's Heroes. And Hogan's Heroes was a comedy that was set in kind of a dark setting. It was set in a prisoner of war camp in World War II. And so, Hogan and, Colonel Hogan and his team of misfits that were caught in there basically had all these underground tunnels, and they were using this prisoner of war camp as kind of a main strategy place to help execute the war on the Germans. And in the show, the German soldiers were just a bunch of nitwits, right? It was Sergeant Schultz and Colonel Clank, and these guys were just morons. And it was, I guess, a funny show. I didn't understand any of it. I didn't know what World War II was. I didn't know what a prison camp was, a prisoner of war camp. I didn't know any of these. So I didn't get the jokes. My parents would watch it, and I didn't get the fact that it was, sometimes sophisticated comedy about war, about World War II. And the part that I liked about it is, number one, they had some awesome old looking cars, like these Mercedes that would drive around that the Germans had that were just awesome. And the other thing I liked about it that I thought was really cool is that a lot of the soldiers in this show would wear these red bands on their arm, and they had this awesome logo that kind of looked like a cross a little bit. And I said, man, there it is. That's our logo, the Hogan's Heroes symbol. It would flap on the flags when they would show things outdoors. It was on the side of cars. You'd go into any of the generals, you go in their office and they got this red flag in the corner with this awesome logo on it. And I said, that's it. We're going to use the Hogan's Heroes logo. Now, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know what it stood for. I didn't know what it meant. I just thought I could draw it. And so I stayed up all night practicing drawing the Hogan's Heroes logo, which is what I called it. It's the Hogan's Heroes symbol. And so then the next day I head off to school, and I get from my dad's house, from my house, I get from my dad, the thickest, most permanent, boldest marker I can find. And we get out of recess, and I'm like, all right, guys, I got our symbol. It's the Hogan's Heroes symbol. And I proceeded in bold, very permanent marker to start drawing swastikas on the back of people's hands. Had no idea what repercussions might come from this. I thought it was pretty cool. And so our gang of 10 started walking around showing people our logos at gym class. A few other kids said, hey, can we join your gang? And like, yeah. I knew that our gang was going to have some, expenses. And so I said, yeah, to join our gang, for me to draw that on your hand costs 25 cents. Right. And so we go to lunch and people are taking their lunch money and giving it to me, 25 cents to draw a swastika on their hand so they can be in our gang. And so we get about 15 more guys. There's some girls that want to join our gang. I'm like, hey, if you got 25 cents, you can be in our gang. So the girls start getting swastikas on their hands. We picked up some first graders and a few third graders. When it was all said and done, by the end of the day, we're out at the bus stop getting people signed up before everyone went on home. By the end of the day, we had probably about 45 members of our gang. And I was feeling so proud, right? Like, who's going to mess with us now? We all got each other's backs. This is a beautiful thing. It really, really was amazing. Well, you might see where this story is going. The next morning, I get up, still got my Hogan's Heroes symbol on my hand. It's permanent. That thing ain't coming off no matter how much you scrub it. And I head off to school. And as soon as I get to school, Mrs. Cole says, you need to go down to the principal's office. Well, I'd never been to the principal's office. I was freaking out. I must be in trouble for something. I can't imagine what. And then I realized maybe the principal wants to congratulate me for this amazing job I've done building this club, right? That's one of the most successful launches of any organization that anyone's ever had. 45 members in one day. Maybe I'm going to get some credit for being a leader and for some good team building. So I go down to the office, and poor Principal Martin is sitting in his office. And in his office is about 30 parents. Some were just some moms. Some were the moms and the dads who took time off of work to come down and find out what is going on at McKenzie Elementary School. Go Bulldogs. And so I walk in there, and there's a chair, and they're like, have a seat. And these parents start yelling. They start shouting. It was like that scene in School of Rock where all the parents are screaming because, Ned Schneebly took all these kids, that he wasn't a real teacher.
I've just been informed that all of your children are missing. So
they start yelling. These parents are like, so what do you have against Israelis? And I'm like, I don't know what that word means. So do you deny the Holocaust? And I'm like, I don't know what the Holocaust is. I mean, they're yelling at me. They are mad. They're up in arms. The principal's trying to calm them all down. And somebody says, so what do you have against Jews? And I said, Jews? I don't even really know what that was. I said, Jews like in Sunday school? Like Moses and the Jews? I don't have anything against, they're losing their minds. And finally, Principal Martin calms them all down and says, you need to explain yourself. Why is every kid in the second grade at this school have a swastika on their hand? And I said, I don't know what a swastika is. What? A swastika. You know what it is. You're the one who drew it. I said, I don't know what that. I swear to God, I don't know what that is. It's the thing on your hand. That's a German swastika. It's Nazis. I didn't know what. I didn't even know what the word Nazi was. Anything. I said, oh, this is the Hogan's Heroes symbol. And they're like, what? I go, the TV show Hogan's Heroes. They all have this symbol on like their arms and their cars and their flags. It's a comedy. It's a sitcom. Hogan's Heroes. This is from Hogan's Heroes. This is from TV. This is nothing bad. And the principal's like, oh. So fortunately, they put two and two together that this was not a case of Nazi youth infiltrating the second grade of Mackenzie Elementary. This was not the case of a hate group forming up. Right? This is not Antifa. This is, it's just a dumb kid. It's a dumb kid who did something dumb. So all the parents, they let him go. It's just me and Principal Martin there. And he took a few minutes to explain to me what it means, right? That the swastika, that it was a symbol of hate, and that symbol was represented millions of deaths of people that were tortured and killed, and their families were killed, and everything was stolen. And so I got my first lesson about World War II and the Holocaust and what it all really means. And all the people in my gang spent the rest of the morning scrubbing our gang logos off of our hands in the bathroom with some industrial cleaner. And that was the end of my days as a gang leader. But, there's a lesson in there, because think about in today's world if somebody did that. If 42nd graders at some elementary school all had Nazi swastikas drawn on their hands, it would be front page news. It would be the leading story on CNN. People would be protesting. They'd be marching in the streets. My parents would have lost their jobs. People would be, holding banners up and, throwing rocks through their windows. It would have been a great excuse for people to loot all the Kmarts in Bay City, Michigan. And, there would have been bedlam. It would have gone crazy, right? Fortunately, back in those days, they would just get to the bottom of it. And what I think a lot of times these stories that the media wants to portray as some outlandish, unbelievable, what a lot of times the story really is? Dumb kid does dumb thing. And sometimes you got to look and see, are these people as bad as they're being portrayed, right? I think there's really just, there's a lot of dumb kids out there. There's a lot of dumb people out there that do dumb things. And before you start throwing rocks and canceling somebody or trying to destroy their life, or you know what else? That would have been spread all over social media so fast, right? People start posting, Jeff Joyner, second grade, everybody block him. Everybody block him, get rid of him. Let's cancel him. Let's destroy his life. That would have happened so fast if this whole situation happened today. And so, hey, if you're a kid, use your head, right? I think the principal, I don't know for sure if this happened, but in my mind, when I was leaving the office, he whacked me in the back of the head. Don't be such an idiot. That's certainly what I deserved. But hey, when a situation like that happens, try to get to the bottom of it, right? Some kid brings a squirt gun to school. He's probably not, trying to gun everybody down. It just was a dumb thing to bring a squirt gun to school. Kids do dumb things. Right? I know my kids have all done dumb things, and I try not to get too upset because I know it's part of growing up, right? Is that you do dumb things, you learn a lesson from it. I learned a powerful lesson that day about the power of symbols, right? Symbols have meaning. Frankly, you're looking at the history that was only, about 30 years after World War II died, right? Like some of those parents, rightfully mad, they kind of lived through the tail end of World War II. Some of them, their parents were likely involved in that. And so I understand why they were upset, but I appreciate the fact that they were understanding and forgiving. The thing was nipped in the bud. I think we probably should have some more of that today.